Welcome, everyone, to today's special episode of our podcast, where we dive deep into the fascinating and challenging world of business. I'm Sarah, and with me is my good friend and business enthusiast, Morteza. Together, we will explore not only how to start a business, but also, more importantly, how to achieve long-term success in it. We often hear stories about entrepreneurs who started from nothing and built empires, but what we don't always hear about is the thought process, the strategies, and the daily discipline that got them there. In this episode, we'll unpack both the excitement and the hard realities of entrepreneurship. Whether you're someone who has been dreaming about starting a small shop in your neighborhood, or you're already in the game but struggling to grow, we want to give you the tools, mindset, and knowledge to move forward with confidence. So, get comfortable, maybe grab a notebook, and let's begin this journey from starting to truly succeeding in business. Morteza, I think a good place to start today is with a very basic but often overlooked question. Why do people even decide to start a business in the first place?
That's a great starting point, Sarah, because motivation shapes the entire journey. Many people start a business because they want independence, the freedom to make decisions without a boss. Others do it because they see an opportunity in the market, maybe something missing that they can provide. And some, frankly, are driven by the potential to earn more money than they could through a regular job. But here's the thing. No matter what the motivation is, if it's not backed by a clear vision and a solid plan, that motivation alone won't carry you through the challenges.
Exactly. And when we talk about starting a business, I think people sometimes imagine that it's about immediately renting a space or launching a website. But the very first step is actually mental preparation, developing the mindset of an entrepreneur. That means being ready to face uncertainty, to take calculated risks, and to keep learning every day.
And speaking of risks, I want to stress that calculated risk is very different from blind risk. For example, if someone wakes up one morning and says, "I'm going to open a restaurant," without checking the demand in the area, the competition, or even the costs involved, that's blind risk. But if they spend weeks studying the local market, testing their recipes, talking to potential customers, and then make a decision, that's calculated. One leads to a much higher chance of success.
So true. In fact, I always tell people, before you invest a single dollar, invest your time in research. And not just internet research. Go out, talk to people in the industry, visit competitors as a customer, see how they operate. Sometimes, just observing how others do things can give you ideas on how to do them better.
Absolutely. And here's something else, starting small is not a weakness. In fact, it's a strength. Many great businesses started small. They tested their ideas on a small scale, learned from their mistakes, and then grew steadily. I know a man who started selling homemade juice at a small stall. He learned which flavors sold best, how to manage his costs, and how to keep customers coming back. Now he owns a chain of juice shops across the city.
That's a perfect example. Starting small allows you to make mistakes when the stakes are lower. And speaking of mistakes, I think this brings us naturally to the bigger topic we want to focus on today, success in business. Because starting is one thing, but succeeding is...
Yes, and success in business is not just about making money. That's a big part, of course, but true success is about building something sustainable. A business that can keep running and even grow without collapsing under pressure. It's about creating systems, building strong relationships with customers, and constantly improving your product or service.
One thing I've noticed is that successful business owners are obsessed with understanding their customers. They don't just guess what people want. They ask, they listen, and they adapt. And it's not just about pleasing customers once. It's about building trust over time so that customers return and bring their friends.
Right? Because customer loyalty is often worth more than one-time sales. You can spend hundreds of dollars trying to attract new customers, but if your existing customers are happy and talking about your business, they become your best and cheapest form of marketing.
That reminds me, marketing is another crucial part of success. Too many people think marketing is just advertising, but it's so much more. It's the way you present your brand, the story you tell, the way you make people feel when they interact with you. And with today's technology, even small businesses can market themselves effectively through social media, email, and content creation without spending huge amounts.
And consistency in marketing is key. Posting one good ad and disappearing for months won't help. You have to show up regularly, keep your brand in people's minds, and stay active in the community you serve. This also builds credibility. People trust brands they see often.
Another big factor is financial discipline. A lot of businesses fail, not because they have a bad product, but because they mismanage their money. They spend too much on unnecessary things early on, or they fail to keep track of their expenses and profits.
True. I always recommend that new business owners learn basic accounting skills, even if they plan to hire an accountant later. Knowing where your money is going helps you make better decisions and avoid debt traps.
And let's not forget about adaptability. The market changes, trends come and go, and sometimes unexpected events, like economic crises or pandemics, can shake things up completely. Businesses that survive are the ones that adapt quickly instead of waiting for things to go back to normal. And let's not forget about adaptability. The market changes, trends come and go, and sometimes unexpected events, like economic crises or pandemics, can shake things up completely. Businesses that survive are the ones that adapt quickly instead of waiting for things to go back to normal.
That's a great point. During the pandemic, I saw restaurants that quickly switched to delivery and takeout, created family meal packages, and used social media to keep customers updated. Those who refused to adapt sadly had to close down.
Exactly. So, to sum up the main elements of success, have a clear vision, understand your customers, market effectively, manage your finances wisely, and stay adaptable. And most importantly, keep learning. Every day brings new challenges and opportunities, and the more you learn, the better you can respond.
Yes, and remember, business success is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about persistence, patience, and passion. If you can keep going when things get tough, learn from failures, and celebrate small wins along the way, you're already ahead of many others.
Well, Morteza, I think we've covered a lot of ground today, from starting a business with the right mindset and preparation to actually achieving and sustaining success over the long term.
Yes, and I hope our listeners can take away some practical steps and inspiration from this conversation. Business is not easy, but it's one of the most rewarding journeys if you approach it with patience, strategy, and an open mind.
Absolutely. And to everyone listening, remember that every big company you see today was once just an idea in someone's mind. What makes the difference is action, taking that first step, and then the next and the next.
So, whether you're about to start or you've already started, keep learning, keep improving, and never lose sight of why you began in the first place.
Thank you all for joining us today. We wish you success in your business journey, and we hope to meet you again in our next episode with more insights and inspiration.
Until then, take care, stay motivated, and keep building your dreams. Goodbye, everyone.